Hello boys and girls, it's Miss Allie from the library and her friend, the little blue dragon, getting ready to tell you a story. But before we can start our story, what do we need to summon? What do we need to get ready? You know it, he knows it, and I know it. And let's rub our hands together. Can we feel it? Oh, is it coming? Imagination. Imagine a story. Imagine a book. Imagine a story. Open our eyes and let's have a look. And this story is called We're Getting a Cat. Have any of you got pets at home, like a cat or a dog or a mouse or a dragon? Well, this story is by Vivian French. So Vivian French is the author. And the illustrator is Salvatore Rubbino. Okay, so Vivian thought up the story and Salvatore drew the pictures. So well done them. Thank you very much. But who else do we have to thank? Can you remember? Let's have a look. It is Walker Books. So who are Walker Books? Do you know? What's that? All right. He knows. I know. Do you know? What's that? Yes, it's the publisher. So it's all very well for Vivian and Salvador to think up the words and draw the pictures, but we need the publisher to make it into a book like this so that I can go to the bookshop and buy the book and then read it to you. Now, what else? Before we open the pages, what else can we find on the outside of the book that might help us decide if it's a book we want to read? What is it? Do you know? Okay, what's that? Little blue dragon knows, and I bet you do. Do you know what it is? That's right, it's the blurb. So the blurb on the back of the book is a little bit of writing that gives us a clue to what the story is about and tells us whether we want to read it or not. So the blurb for We're Getting a Cat is, what do you do when your house is crawling with mice? Get a cat, of course, but rescue cat Kevin is busy getting to know his new family. He doesn't have time to catch any mice. Let's find out. Are we sitting comfortably? Little blue dragon, are you sitting comfortably? Are you sitting comfortably? Can you see the pictures? Good. Then we will begin. Can you see? Right, let's make sure that you can see. I'm just going to do a little bit of adjusting there. Right. Our family got a cat because my dad is terrified, and I mean terrified, of mice. We didn't have them when we lived in the centre of town, but then we moved to a new flat in an old house, and it had loads of mice. Can you see all those mice? Look at the dad, he's jumping on the chair. So that weekend we went to the home for rescue cats and we chose Kevin. He's a big and strong, Dad said. He'll catch all the mice. A week later, Kevin was allowed to come home with us, and me and my sister were so happy. Look at that. Okay, so they've got a cat. Mrs. Harris next door had a cat, so we asked her how to make Kevin feel at home. Keep him inside for at least 3 weeks, she said. If you let him go outside too soon, he'll try to run back to where he came from. He needs to get used to the idea that he's your cat. She paused. Oh, and he'll need a litter tray. I've got an old one you can use. A litter tray isn't a waste paper basket. It's a cat indoor toilet. I think mums and dads have to clean those. We went to the pet shop and bought some special grainy stuff to put in the tray. Then we put the tray in the cupboard in the hall and propped the door open. Kevin went straight in and did a wee. Okay, what a clever cat. Me and my sister made Kevin a lovely bed in a cardboard box, but he didn't like it much. He slept on top of the fridge, the back of the sofa, and the pile of newspapers waiting to be recycled. In the evenings, he came and kept us company, and if Dad was there, he always wanted to sit on his knee. At first, Dad shooed him away, but after a few days, he said, "Pesky cat." But at least he knows who's important. Mum rolled her eyes. Cats have minds of their own. They can't be trained like dogs. They like to make their own decisions. It was fun finding out about cats, but sometimes we got things wrong. Kevin hated having his tummy tickled. When we tried, he went to sit with his back to us, his tail twitching. Mrs. Harris said that it meant he was cross. He didn't like having his fur brushed the wrong way. He didn't like being wheeled about in my sister's dolly pram. And he didn't like the water in his bowl. He liked the water in the toilet better. We were worried it was dirty, but Mrs. Harris said it was all right, and Kevin drank it. Cats should always have water available for them to drink, but not cow's milk. It's not good for them. What Kevin liked. He liked curling up beside me and headbutting me until I scratched his ears. He liked cleaning himself all over, especially between his toes. And he liked chasing a ping pong ball or a piece of paper on the end of the string. He liked sitting at the window and making growly noises at the pigeons. He liked scratching the back of Mum's chair. We didn't tell Mum, but we used our pocket money to buy him a scratching post. Dad helped us a bit. Cats scratch anything they think is suitable for keeping their claws sharp. A scratching post will save the furniture. Most of all, Kevin liked eating. He ate all the food we put in his bowl, and he purred a lot. After a week, he knew he was fed at 8 in the morning and 6 in the evening, and he would rush into the kitchen and sit by his bowl. We loved Kevin. The only problem was that he didn't catch any mice, and that made Dad very grumpy. One night, the mice were extra noisy and kept Dad awake for ages. He was scowling as he ate his breakfast. "That cat's useless," he said. "He's got to go." And he stomped off to work. When we told Mrs. Harris about it, she shook her head. "Poor Kevin. Maybe he doesn't like catching mice." "Isn't that what cats do?" I asked. "Some cats aren't bothered," Mrs. Harris said, "especially if they're used to having regular meals." "But Dad's going to send him away," my sister wailed. No, he's not. Mum sounded very firm. Kevin's part of our family now. He's staying. But what about the mice, I asked. You could try mint, Mrs. Harris said, or there are other ways of getting rid of them. Kevin was stretching out his paws to admire his claws, and Mrs. Harris smiled. Is he cleaning himself a lot? That means he's settling in nicely. Well done. My sister beamed. Do you think he can go out now? It's 3 weeks today since we got him. Let him out this evening, just before his tea time, Mrs. Harris suggested, and rattle his kitty crunchy box when you call him back in. I wonder if Kevin's going to catch any mice. That's the question, isn't it? Now, we let Kevin out at 5:30. He strode out the door as if he wasn't bothered whether he was in or out. But then he leapt over the garden wall and vanished. My sister burst into tears. He's run away. We'll give him 5 minutes and then we'll rattle his kitty crunchy box, Mum said. He'll come rushing back for his tea. But he didn't. We rattled and called for ages, but there was no sign of Kevin. Even Mum looked worried. Dad got home at 6:30. Hello, he said, you all look miserable. What's up? Kevin's run away, my sister wailed. He knew you didn't want him and now he's gone. No, he hasn't, Dad said. He was sitting on the front path waiting for me. Look, and in walked Kevin, purring loudly. Oh, is that the end? Is that in the end? I think it is. So Kevin hadn't run away from home. He was waiting for Daddy to come home, wasn't he? So there's lots of information in this book. So this is a story book, but it's got lots of information in it as well about keeping a cat. Okay, so that's lots of things. Do any of you have a cat or a dog or a pet? Maybe a little bird, pet bird? We would love to see some pictures if you have. Why not draw us a picture of your pet? Or if you haven't got a pet, maybe you could make up a picture of an imaginary pet. An imaginary pet, just imagine what he might look like. He might look like a pussycat or a tiger or a dinosaur or even a robot or a funny, amazing bird. Let's see, I would love to see your pictures. Okay, well, it's time for me to go now. Time for him to go. So I hope you have a lovely day and that you enjoyed the story. So, goodbye from Little Blue Dragon. And it's goodbye from Miss Allie. See you next time. Bye.